Shocker, America really, really loves guns.
A new Pew Research poll shows 63% of Americans now believe having a gun is the best way to protect against crime, with the support for gun control at a 25-year low. Pew suggested that the change is the result of Americans believing that crime is a big problem, despite statistics showing the opposite. According to Pew, it's unclear why public views on crime have grown more dire, though many blame it on the nature of news coverage, reality TV, and political rhetoric.
Yeah, we love guns. We've always loved guns, no matter how many people are killed by guns, no matter how many children are killed in elementary schools, no matter how many shootings there are. After Newtown, it sounded like maybe we were going to get some gun control. Something like, quote me, I think we've talked about this on TYT, something like 90% of Americans wanted stronger gun legislation after that. Somehow that couldn't get passed. What is our fascination with guns?
Well, you don't have to be correct to have when you have a gun. You make everybody agree with you by pointing a gun at them, then you force people to pretend that you're right. And so a lot of people can get to be wrong and powerful, as opposed to me. I just have to be correct. I'm unarmed, so I just have to be armed with what I'm saying and the meaning of it. But you can stop, and any of your dogma can be made correct. The one with the gun doesn't have to be right. He just has to have what he's already got. The one without can scream and shout, but even if he's right, he still gets shot.
Guns, we love guns, right? I mean, this country just loves guns.
Obviously, look, again, I work for a network that celebrates classic Hollywood, but classic Hollywood played a role in the gun fascination. I mean, the most popular movies there in the 1930s and then into the 40s with the war movies, but the 30s with the Westerns, the guys we idolized, the heroes, they weren't guys with the best ideas, they were the guys with the biggest guns. Now, they were, again, generally the guys on the just side, but you made your case by shooting people, by killing people, and you needed a gun to do it. We've been fascinated with guns for a long time, and obviously we won our freedom by using guns and beating the British. I mean, it is the media, it is the NRA-funded media, it is not just Fox News, but local news stations across the country. I worked in local news for 5 years. That expression, there's never been a bigger cliche that is more true, that if it bleeds, it leads. That is 100% true.
Yeah.
What about single-person shooter games?
Yeah, so, I don't know.
I don't buy that. I don't buy that. And they've had many studies saying that that's not true. Right. I played a ton of video games, but people say it all the time.
I know, but what you have is not like, when I say I don't know, I mean I don't know. I got it that I don't think that, because first of all, single-person shooter games have increased, and as we're trying to get the point across, violence and crime are going down.
Right.
So that would indicate that maybe the guns don't have
an outlet, is what you're saying.
It might be an outlet, or we're smart enough to know the difference, which is perhaps more likely. What's worse is the coverage of the games, is the conservative coverage of games suggesting that this makes us more violent. Again, they love stories that scare us. The Republican Party has succeeded for 25 years of scaring us that black people are coming for your white daughters, gay people are coming for your white sons, right? The teachers are going to teach your kids how to be gay. The life that you knew and thought you could control is being lost to other forces, people who are different than you. ISIS is coming. They're coming across the Mexican border. They're laying prayer rugs down as they stream across the border. Never.
We could just get through this show.
None of it's right. None of it's true. Yeah, we gotta go, man. So we're being scared constantly on television, reality television, and then the news, which makes, I left local news because it made no effort to tell people what was really happening. I went to a show that did, and then no one watched. But
that's a whole other story.
It's pretty hideous. Like they don't cover politics. They don't cover politics. Interestingly, when they do, they just cover the yelling. And they basically, if a 7-Eleven gets robbed, they'll cover that story and show that tragedy without ever providing any context that, by the way, the good news is that they'll probably catch the guy, and the robberies like this are significantly down since the 80s, massively down since when it started really in the 90s. But these shows, O'Reilly and Hannity and Limbaugh and all these other guys, and to say nothing of local news stations across the country, thrive, and their success, at least they think, is built on scaring us, and crime scares us more than anything.
Right, so is the irony with this, though, then, that despite all the scare tactics, which obviously exist, without question, that despite all that, the polls still show a huge percentage of people want more sensible gun control, despite that.
It's now being compounded with a secondary set of contradicting fear that even the certain factions of the white community are afraid of police now coming and shooting their dog and shooting them on their property. And a new thing that is crossing it because new videos are showing some white people going under it, and it's activated the crowd that has all these guns, the white group that are now getting worried about that happening to them now, which is a first.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So it's like, it's the other thing. They used to scare you from the other. Now they're scaring you. It's that the government
one that was supposed to protect you from the others, now scaring them from that side too. So there's two sides scaring them.
Yeah, I think that's right. Fear is fear is so visceral. The other stuff is complicated and it requires you to read. Fear is they're coming, and like this responds in so many easy ways to being men and being told that like, you're going to protect your family or not? Yeah, no, I'm a man. I'll protect my family. Yeah. But interestingly, what we are prepared for is I'm prepared to go buy a gun and fill out a report and have them do a complete background check and get that gun in 7 days.
Well, I'm at least glad we ended that with a little reason. By the way, I'm for the Second Amendment. You should be able to have a gun. But yeah, 7 days. You can wait a couple days. They're going to do some checking, and then you'll get your gun, you'll get all your ammo and all that good stuff. What do you think about gun control? Let us know in the comments right down below.